Onebar and Lupagus Show, your daily source for everything Minnesota Vikings.
All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus Show. I'm Onebar. We got SuttonDef in the house from the Purple Rain Podcast. It is time to SKOL with the enemy. Two-time guest on the show. Came on the live last night. It was meant to be. So damn happy you're saddling up, talk some Vikings, Ravens, man. Welcome back.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. It's good to be back. Like I said, I was scouring the YouTube streets last night, trying to kind of get behind enemy lines myself. You know, it's only every 4 years we play you guys. So it's like I had to see what you guys were saying, what you guys' opinions were. You guys happened to be live. I popped in, I commented, and here I am today. Happy to be here.
Hell yeah, glad you did. I'm very curious to pick your brain. We got you on quick yesterday. You gave us a few thoughts, but let's just dive right into it. I mean, to me, it seems like the Vikings and Ravens are kind of in the same spot. They're kind of scratching, fighting for their life a little bit. And this is a big ass game. This is a big game on Sunday. And at 3-5, do you feel for the Ravens, like, is this a must win?
Well, yeah, for sure. What we've been kind of preaching in the Ravens flock most recently is that every game from here on out is a playoff game, which is kind of ironic because, as you know, and as everybody who watches football knows, the Ravens tend to fall short in the postseason, but in the regular season, they're normally flying very, very high, right? So, we're all just kind of in this weird space right now where we just don't know what to do with ourselves because we're never this bad in the regular season with Lamar Jackson. And of course, you know, he was hurt a couple of games and that really led to where we are today. But yeah, man, I mean, I definitely am still feeling confident about this game. I'll say that. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah, I can tell you. It's oozing out of you. You guys are going to spank us. I'm getting that feeling from you. Well, let's talk. Man. Let's talk defense.
Okay.
So enlighten me, because when you look at the stats, you look at, they're giving up this many yards on the ground, this many yards in the air. They only got 11 sacks. It seems like your defense is overly not fantastic, but it also seems like you guys have started to pick it up the last few weeks. So what's the real deal?
Yeah, so I mean, basically, I like to look at the football like a chess game, right? And the queen on our board, on defensively at least, is Kyle Hamilton. That's who it is. I mean, last year, the Ravens started off the season, the first 7 weeks, as one of the worst defenses in the league, right? And that's because their back end was compromised. They had guys like Eddie Jackson and a washed-up Marcus Williams back there who were just getting beat over the top consistently. So what did the Ravens do? They decided to move Kyle Hamilton to the back end and play that deep safety role. And after that, the Ravens defense literally went from worst in the league to first in the league by the time the regular season was over. That was 2024. Fast forward to 2025, this year, the Ravens started off with Kyle Hamilton in that deep safety role, right? Thinking that they could have some, continuity from last year. But the problem was we couldn't stop the run up front, nor could we get any sort of pressure on any sort of quarterback that we were facing. So they had to move Kyle Hamilton once again from the deep safety half. They moved him closer to the box, and that's what they've had for the last 3 weeks. And the product that you've seen from this Ravens defense is, again, only giving up 13 points per game since they made that move. They've looked really good as of recent weeks.
All right, so Kyle Hamilton, any Vikings fan watching this, they're gonna start shaking him because that's all you hear. The Vikings should have took Kyle Hamilton. That's the draft. We trade back, end up with Lewisine. We know how that all went down. But how I'll feed the fuel just because I know the comments are coming. How good is Kyle Hamilton? How good is this guy, and how big a part of this team is he?
Listen, man, if I had to list top 3 most valuable Ravens on the roster, of course, number 1 is Lamar Jackson. But number 2 is Kyle Hamilton. He is right there. Number 3 is kind of debatable between a couple of guys. You can argue guys like Roquan Smith. I'm actually wearing his jersey right here. Number 0. You can argue, some guys like Travis Jones, Matabike, who's actually out for the season. But no, Kyle Hamilton, man, especially on the defense, he is the most valuable piece. Because like I said, man, everywhere where there's a void, right, where the Ravens have some weakness, all you do is just plug and play Kyle Hamilton where the weakness is at, and all of a sudden it's no longer a weakness. So yeah, that's how good he is. He's an amazing pickup that we got at 14, and I think 2022 draft. That was 2022, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's a horrible draft for the Vikings. All right, one more Kyle Hamilton, just because he's always such a hot topic. Just as a true safety, still fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, super good instincts, ball hawk. Like I said, I mean, last year they had to move him to that true safety position. This year he's playing more nickel linebacker type position. He's truly a hybrid this year. But last year they moved him to that back end, and it was just an instant fix. Quarterbacks were not able to go over the top on us because they were hesitant because number 14 Kyle Hamilton was back there. So y'all know, man, he's a beast. But outside of him, there are some places where the Ravens defense can be had, right? And I always say, like, the statistics for the Ravens defense up to this point are a little bit misleading because of that move that they made with Kyle Hamilton a couple of weeks ago. But the Ravens are still a tad bit susceptible to the run, so that's one place, that's one area, especially if you guys have Aaron Jones starting in this one. I'm not sure. I want to get your take on that. I'm sure you know more than I do. But if it's not him and it's Jordan Mason, I feel a little bit more comfortable, right? But the run game is somewhere where I feel like the Vikings can definitely take advantage of the Ravens defense.
Yeah, Jones. Jones is going to be such a huge part of whether or not the Vikings can give you guys a run. Right now, I mean, he's saying he's going to play, but he's done that before, and all of a sudden he's inactive. So I would say it's 50-50 at best right now. He's got to be on the field for the Vikings. He was so damn good last week against the Lions. But yeah, I mean, I feel the same thing. Like when I look at the stats with the Ravens defense, I think it's a little bit of fool's gold because it's easy to look at the stats and be like, all right, we're gonna take advantage of this. But just on the sacks alone. 11 sacks. You guys made the trade for Jones. Like, are the pressures there? Are they just not hitting home, or does the quarterback just literally have all the time in the world in that pocket?
Well, it's a combination of things. I think I was telling you guys last night on the live stream that quarterbacks are really getting the ball out quick against us, but even when they're not getting the ball out that quick, we're still not generating a whole lot of pressure. But that's only when we're rushing with 4. Right. And us losing Nnamdi Madubuike, who still leads our team in sacks, minus Draymond Jones, who we just picked up the other day. Nnamdi Madubuike has not played football in almost 2 months. Onebar. Right. And he still leads this team. Well, he's tied for the lead in sacks. That goes to show how bad we are at rushing the quarterback right now. But I'm going to go back to Kyle Hamilton. Again, that queen chess piece, right, that you can move anywhere and have him do anything. Kyle Hamilton's rushing the passer now. And that's what I fully expect to happen. I mean, I know there's a lot of Vikings fans listening to this program. Here's something you got to look out for on Sunday. Kyle Hamilton blitzing off the edge. I made a bold prediction last night. I said Kyle Hamilton is probably going to get a sack, because JJ McCarthy holds onto the ball a little bit longer than average. Kyle Hamilton's going to be in his face. I feel like he gets him down. But yeah, man, I mean, kind of zooming out from that, we can't rush the passer. That's why we got Dre Jones, to be honest with you.
You brought up JJ McCarthy. What's your take on McCarthy? I always love getting an outside take on him. Coming out of the draft, I mean, not like you're sitting there breaking down JJ McCarthy film with the Vikings by any means, but what's your take on McCarthy from afar?
I honestly, I was telling my co-host Alex this over the offseason. I was like, JJ McCarthy and the Vikings are going to be one, team to watch out for, right? And I was kind of surprised when some of these rumors that came out, and you could speak to this a lot better than I could, about like the soft benching of JJ McCarthy that was kind of swirling around rumors, in the NFL and stuff like that. But no, like I kind of, his comp to me, and this may seem way off base because, like you said, I'm not really breaking down JJ McCarthy film and stuff like that. But his comp to me was kind of like, I kind of put him on the same level as Drake May. I had the same expectations, right, as like a Drake May. You know what I mean? Like a guy who can throw it all over the field, maybe a little bit inexperienced, right, reading defenses and whatnot, especially at an NFL level. But he's got that athleticism to make up for it. Kind of how I feel about like a Jackson Dart, maybe even to a lesser degree. But no, I like what you guys have in JJ McCarthy. My only thing is that, again, I think that this Ravens team, and I've come off of my score prediction that I said yesterday. I think I said 37-24. I think it might be a little bit closer. I do still have the Ravens winning. I still got the Ravens winning, full disclosure. But I think it might be a little bit closer, maybe like a 1-possession game. But no, man, I think that you're gonna see JJ McCarthy, that is gonna see some looks that he hasn't seen yet from an NFL defense facing up against this Ravens team, who's known historically for defense, albeit the stats don't prove it this year, right? But I think that JJ McCarthy is going to be in for one, especially with the pressure packages that we're going to scheme up against him.
Yeah, McCarthy's going to be sniffing around. He's got to get that first win at home as a pro. I'll tell you this, you're going to see some good plays out of McCarthy on Sunday, and you're going to see some throws. You're just going to be like, what the hell was that? He looks like a young quarterback. But, I mean, Vikings fans are definitely very excited about him. But let's talk about your quarterback. Obviously, Lamar Jackson. Dude's just balling out. Last week against the Lions, the Vikings, they just brought the house. And, yeah, Jared Goff is not Lamar Jackson. The man can't move. And it was a lot easier to get to him and get him rattled. What's Lamar Jackson's kryptonite these days? What does Brian Flores and the defense have to do to slow him down?
I mean, here's the thing. Here's what really scares me about the Ravens playing the Vikings and why we might lose is because Brian Flores, I think, is just an absolute genius of a defensive coordinator. Historically, his games against Lamar, I know a lot of people remember that Thursday night football game against the Dolphins. I think it was 4 years ago when Brian Flores was the head coach of the Dolphins at the time, and he threw so many cover zero looks at him, cover zero blitz looks at him, and I think that he's kind of evolved that scheme since then, even though Lamar Jackson's evolved, because the narrative at the time, the kryptonite for Lamar Jackson at the time was that he cannot handle the blitz, right? But that was underneath a different offensive coordinator because we had Greg Roman back then. Now we have Todd Monken. Underneath the Todd Monken, Lamar Jackson is by far way in ahead, better than any other quarterback in the league performing against the blitz. It's almost like it's just something you do not want to do, right? So what I think is the kryptonite this year, and what I think that you guys will pull from is the Lions game, right? The Ravens took on the Lions earlier this year, and the Lions were basically rushing four, right? Cage rushing Lamar Jackson, keeping, gap integrity, things like that, and then having like a linebacker be kind of like that shallow spy, right? An athletic linebacker at that. So if you got one of those, you're in good shape. That way you can defend the field sideline to sideline if Lamar Jackson does try to break contain. That is the only way that you are going to kind of thwart Lamar Jackson's production is if you, again, cage rush him. Your corners have to be very, very sound, and they have to defend they got to cover for at least a couple of seconds, right? Because what you want Lamar Jackson to do is kind of hesitate. And then when he hesitates, he kind of pulls the ball down, looks around the pocket, see where he can kind of escape to. If there's nowhere to escape to, you can get a sack. I think that honestly, you're going to have to get to Lamar Jackson at least 4 to 5 times in order to win this game. That's in my opinion. But again, the kryptonite, cage rush him, shallow linebacker spy, that's what's proven to be effective so far this year.
Yeah, I think I think Blake Cashman is going to be that guy. Just follow him around. He's going to be that middle linebacker, just waiting for him. And Cashman, he's been pretty damn good. But when you say like the cornerbacks, the Vikings secondary has definitely been a little suspect the last few weeks. So he might be able to eat for sure. Let's talk. We got to talk Derrick Henry real quick. Once again, SuttonDef from the Purple Rain podcast. Check them out. They do fantastic work over there. 2-time guest. Look forward to having him on when we're playing in the Super Bowl this year. Once again, but let's talk Derrick Henry, man.
All right.
I mean, what do we got to do to contain him? Again, watching the Ravens games. I'm not going to sit here and say I've watched a ton of Ravens this year, but you can see the stat sheet. I mean, obviously it's Derrick Henry. The man is a beast. Would the Vikings be better off? Let me rephrase this. Would the Vikings be better off if Lamar went off or if Henry went off?
You guys will be better off if man, that's a tough one. Let
me rephrase that.
Question.
Who would we be better off to contain to get the dub? Because both of them scare the hell out of us.
Definitely Derrick Henry. Okay, definitely Derrick Henry. And the main reason why I say that is because if you're not stopping Derrick Henry and he's able to break off 4-yard runs and a 6-yard run, then an 11-yard run, and then a 6-yard run, and then you know what I'm saying? Like if he's averaging like 5 to 7 yards per carry, the Ravens are just going to eat up the clock, right? And you're just not going to have enough opportunities for JJ McCarthy and that offense to really put anything together, because while Derrick Henry is like methodically moving the football down the field, Lamar Jackson's going to get it in the end zone. Like that's just it's almost non-negotiable. When Lamar Jackson gets into the red zone, he finds a way in there. Earlier this year, we were struggling in the red zone on the goal line, especially because our offensive coordinator was having some mental lapses, I'll say, but they seem to have gotten it together post-bye week, post-Lamar injury. So, it's going to be interesting, but definitely Derrick Henry is who you want to stop first. You got to sell out to stop Derrick Henry because everything else is predicated off of him.
It's been weird. The Vikings so far have been able to stop the big backs like the Barkleys. We shut down the Lions last week. But these younger guys, freaking Kenneth Gainwell goes for 100. I mean, the dude from the Chargers busts off a big game. So it's almost opposite. One quick follow-up on that. With the Ravens and when they're running the ball, if it's not happening, do they give up on that early? It is keep pounding that thing.
They're going to keep pounding it. I mean, and that comes from lessons that we learned earlier in this season. Honestly, lessons that we learned in years past. We're just not going to abandon the run unless you guys come out of the gate and just like guns a-blazing on offense and we're down. We find ourselves down by 2 possessions early in that game. Now, as long as it's within 1 possession or we're winning, yeah, we're going to run that football. Derrick Henry. And then also I was just kind of stroking the beard here because I'm thinking about our backup running back, not Justice Hill, but Keaton Mitchell. That's another guy that you're going to have to look out for. He's a very, very good change of pace back because, of course, Derrick Henry, he's going to bludgeon you. You know what I mean? Like he's going to, they're going to throw Derrick Henry at you at least 20 times a game. But there's going to be 4 or 5 carries for a guy named Keaton Mitchell. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but if he gets out to the edge, he has got game-breaking speed. And that's just something that, you got to look out for. But again, if you can shut down Derrick Henry early and really make it. So here's the thing. It's kind of like a twofer. You got to shut down Derrick Henry early, and you have to score early if you're the Vikings.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
Both very, very. No, it's horrifying. I mean, even the Vikings coming off the huge win against the Lions, like a lot of Vikings fans are still like, it's going to have to be this Ravens game that we beat the Ravens. It's game on. Like the Vikings are actually going to make a push, but it's still a little bit of fool's gold from last week, that Detroit Lions game, just because the Vikings have played just so up and down and so randomly. So this is like for you guys, this is an absolutely ginormous game for the Vikings at home. From your standpoint, what scares you the most about the Viking squad?
I would say the pass rush for one. The front seven, I've heard some good things about. I know was it Javon Hargrave had a really good game last week. I'm more so concerned about the Ravens right guard and their left guard, right? So our guard play this year has been less than desirable. I'll say that. And 2 names that you might hear on Sunday, Andrew Voorhees, the left guard for the Ravens, and then Daniel Fa'alele, the right guard for the Baltimore Ravens. Both of those guys have struggled immensely. So my biggest concern against the Vikings is that we're not able to get our running game going between the tackles because some of those guys are missing blocks. They're whiffing. Guys are shedding them way too early. That tends to happen in our offense. However, and that was a big problem early in the season, but however, the Ravens did recently get back their fullback, Patrick Ricard. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Patrick Ricard, but he is a huge part of the Ravens run game. And since he's been back for 2 games now. Derrick Henry has gone over 100 yards rushing in both games. And, his average yards per play that he's picking up since Pat Ricard has been back blocking for him, basically being a 6th offensive lineman for him, it's gone up. It's gone up. So it's going to be tough stopping the run if you're the Vikings. But if you do have those guys physical on the inside who can really take advantage of our guards and meet Derrick Henry in the backfield, again, get him to check his feet, because you guys know how Derrick Henry works. He's not like a super explosive guy. As soon as he gets the football, he needs to get ahead of steam, right? So you got to cut him down early, sort of thing. So if you have guys who can get in the backfield on the interior, kind of get that interior push, then that's probably what I'm most afraid of for this Vikings game, because then the Ravens won't be able to control the game, because we want to control the game by running. If you have the interior push, it'll be harder for us to do that.
Let's go, man. I wish it was Sunday. I wish it was Sunday so damn bad.
Same, bro.
Let's go. I want this. I want to see who's going to get the dub, because it's going to get sour if the Vikings lose. Give me, before I want to get your updated score prediction from yesterday, even though you kind of already gave it. But give me one guy on the Ravens, and maybe you already mentioned with your back, who's just one underrated dude that doesn't get enough love on your squad that is a big part of this Ravens team.
I'll definitely go with Travis Jones, right? So our interior D lineman, literally our best interior D lineman. He was second behind Nnamdi Madubuike before he went down, but right now he's all we got. He's probably the 3rd most valuable Raven on this team right now. If he goes down with an injury, then it's pretty much over for this Ravens team. Just to tell you the truth, we're not going to be able to stop the run. We're not going to be able to generate any sort of pressure at all, even with simulated pressure. So Travis Jones is a guy who definitely, whether or not Aaron Jones plays or whether or not it's Jordan Mason, he's going to be a guy, Travis Jones, who clogs up the middle of that field and makes it very hard to run for the Vikings.
And wasn't Voorhees the dude who was injured when drafted way later than he was supposed to? Was he USC?
Yeah, USC tore his Achilles, I want to say, at the combine, right?
Yes.
The Ravens were able to get him for super cheap draft capital, obviously, because of that. And he redshirted basically his rookie season. And after that, the kind of head scratcher for a lot of Ravens fans was that he was never really given any competition in training camp. So we didn't really know how he was going to be, this season. And so far, he's been our worst offensive lineman.
All right. Yeah, that was a guy that we wanted badly. Like, man, take a flyer on this guy. So, but he's still young. All right, give us your final, not final, but give us your latest prediction on how it goes down. We know you got your Ravens winning, but how bad?
I'm gonna go 31-24 Ravens. That's what I'm gonna go with here. So 1 possession game still. I think that my biggest thing in this one is that I think early in the game you're gonna see this running game kind of like I don't want to say takeover. I don't want to make the viewers too angry with me, right? But like I do,
They're already
see
angry.
some, I do see some chunk runs from Derrick Henry. You're going to see a lot of outside zone, right? Some things that the Ravens are just going to try to keep themselves on the field for as long as possible and literally just try to starve your offense out. And when your offense does get on the field, they're going to have so many, blitz packages and schemes ready to go. And again, I just think that Kyle Hamilton, especially going up against an inexperienced signal caller, is going to be able to get his on Sunday. So I'm going to go 31-24 Ravens, but I think it's going to be a good game though, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. All the media, everybody, all the screenshots are out there. Everybody's picking the Ravens. Like, really, no one's picking the Vikings. And we went through that last week. We'll see what happens. But very excited to watch that game. SuttonDef, Purple Rain Podcast. Links will be down in the description. Hit him up. Does a fantastic job. Hey, good luck on Sunday, man.
Yes, sir. Good luck
I hope
to
you
you
lose,
as well.
but good luck.
For sure. Shout out to the SKOL Nation out there, man. Good luck to you guys.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
All right, man.